Guangzhouwan was a small enclave on the southern coast of China ceded by Qing China to France as a leased territory and administered as an outlier of French Indochina. The territory did not experience the rapid growth in population that other parts of coastal China experienced, rising from 189,000 in 1911 to just 209,000 in 1935. Industries included shipping and coal mining. Japan occupied the territory in February 1943. The French briefly took it back in 1945 before returning it to China in 1946, at which point it was given the name Zhanjiang, also known in Cantonese as Sam Kong. The capital of the territory was Fort Bayard. The old spellings Sankang, Changkang, and Samkong were replaced by the pinyin romanization Zhanjiang by the Chinese government in 1958. Geography. The leased territory was situated in Guangdong Province on the east side of the Lijiao Peninsula, north of Hainan, around a bay then called Guangzhouwan, now called the Port of Zhanjiang. The bay forms the estuary of the Maxi River. The Maxi is navigable as far as 19 kilometers inland even by large warships. The territory ceded to France included the islands lying in the bay, which enclosed an area 29 kilometers long by 10 kilometers wide and a minimum water depth of 10 meters. The islands were recognized at the time as an admirable natural defense, the main islands being Donghai-dao. The limits of the concession inland were fixed in November 1899. On the left bank of the Maxi, France gained from Guangzhou Prefecture a strip of territory 18 kilometers by 10 kilometers, and on the right bank a strip 24 kilometers by 18 kilometers from Lijiao Prefecture. The total land area of the leased territory was 1,300 square kilometers. The city of Fort Bayard was developed as a port. History. Establishment of French rule and early development. Guangzhouwan was leased by China to France for 99 years. According to the Treaty of the 12th of April 1898, on the 27th of May as Territoire de Comté Acute to counter the growing commercial power of British Hong Kong. The colony was described as commercially unimportant but strategically located. Most of France's energies went into their administration of French Indochina, and the main concern in China was the protection of Roman Catholic missionaries, rather than the promotion of trade. Guangzhouwan was effectively placed under the authority of the French resident superior in Tonkin. The French resident was represented locally by administrators. In addition to the territory acquired, France was given the right to connect the bay by railway with the city and harbour situated on the west side of the peninsula. However, when they attempted to take possession of the land to build the railway, forces of the provincial government offered armed resistance. As a result, France demanded and obtained exclusive mining rights in the three adjoining prefectures. The population in 1911 was recorded as 189,000. The return of the leased territory to China was promised by France at the Washington Naval Conference of 1921–1922, but this plan was in fact never realized. By 1931, the population of Guangzhouwan had reached 206,000, giving the colony a population density of 245 persons per square kilometer. Virtually all were Chinese, and only 266 French citizens and 4 other Europeans were recorded as living there. Industries included shipping and coal mining. The port was also popular with smugglers prior to the 1928 cancellation of the American ban on export of commercial airplanes. Guangzhouwan was also used as a stop for Cantonese smugglers transporting military aircraft purchased in Manila to China, and U.S. records mention at least one drug smuggler who picked up opium and Chinese emigrants to be smuggled into the United States from there. World War II. As an adjunct of French Indochina, Guangzhouwan generally endured the same fate as Indochina proper during World War II. Even before the signing of the 30th of August 1940 accord with Japan, in which France recognized the privileged status of Japanese interests in the Far East, and which constituted the first step of the Japanese military occupation of Indochina. A small detachment of Japanese Marines had landed at Fort Bayard without opposition in early July and set up a control and observation post in the harbor. However, as in French Indochina proper, the civilian administration of the territory was to remain in the hands of officials of the Vichy regime. In November 1941, Governor-General Jean Decouz, newly appointed by Marshal Pétain, made an official visit to Guangzhouwan. In mid-February 1943, the Japanese, after having informed the Vichy government that they needed to strengthen the defense of Guangzhouwan Bay, unilaterally landed more troops and occupied the airport and all other strategic locations in the territory. From then on, Guangzhouwan was de facto under full military Japanese occupation, and the French civilian administration was gradually reduced to a mere facade. The administrator resigned in disgust, and Adrien Rox, a local pro-Vichy militant, was appointed to replace him. In May of the same year, Rox signed a convention with the local Japanese military authorities in which the French authorities promised to cooperate fully with the Japanese. On the 10th of March 1945, the Japanese, following up on the sudden attack on French garrisons throughout Indochina the night before, disarmed and imprisoned the small French colonial garrison in Fort Bayard. Just prior to the Japanese surrender, which ended World War II, the National Revolutionary Army, having recaptured Luzhou, Guilin, and Taizhou, as well as Lashio and Mandalay in Burma, was planning to launch a large-scale assault on Guangzhouwan. However, due to the end of the war, the assault never materialized. On the 18th of August 1945 in Chongqing, while the Japanese were still occupying Guangzhouwan following the surrender, a French diplomat and Kuo Changwu, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of China, signed the convention between the Provisional Government of the French Republic and the National Government of China for the retrocession of the leased territory of Guangzhouwan. Almost immediately after the last Japanese occupation troops had left the territory in late September, representatives of the French and the Chinese governments went to Fort Bayard to proceed to the transfer of authority. The French flag was lowered for the last time on the 20th of November 1945. During the Japanese occupation of Hong Kong, Guangzhouwan was often used as a stopover on an escape route for civilians fleeing Hong Kong and trying to make the way to free China. Patrick Yu, a prominent trial lawyer, recalled in his memoirs how a Japanese civilian in Hong Kong helped him to escape in this way. However, the escape route was closed when the Japanese occupied the area in February 1943. French cultural and economic influence. A French-language school, École Franco-Chinoise de Qing, as well as a branch of the Banque de l'Indochine, were set up in Fort Bayard. In addition, a Roman Catholic church constructed during the colonial period is still preserved today. Gallery.